Remember the panic about the surge of migrants that never happened when Title 42 was coming to an end? How about all the headlines that said Greg Abbott's buoy barrier had to be removed when the court order clearly said reposition? Remember the millions of migrants narrative without them mentioning that 100,000 or so were being returned to their home countries every month? What about all the stories about Greg Abbott defying the Supreme Court and President Joe Biden when we all know he wasn't doing either one of those? You see, without proper context, you hear millions of migrants and you don't start hearing about all the other stuff that's happening as far as like people turned away at the border, people that are returned to their home countries. You don't hear those numbers. So it makes it sound like millions of people are just pouring across the border when in all actuality they're being stopped, they're being taken into custody, they're being screened, and a good portion of those, probably half, are being turned away. And when it comes to Greg Abbott, he's not defying the Supreme Court because they didn't say he had to stop putting wire down. They just said Customs and Border Patrol can cut it if they need access to a certain area. So is Greg Abbott really blocking CBP from getting into Shelby Park and Eagle Pass? Technically, yes. But the National Guard, the people blocking them, are working with Customs and Border Protection, so it's really just a show. And if you don't believe me, just ask the soldiers that are at the border. When it comes to mainstream media, and I need my fellow reporters to hear this, leaving out key context and important details is essentially lying by omission. And it's clear that everyone who uses the words like invasion and illegal alien are buying into this hype, that this helps feed their narrative of a so-called invasion at the border that's not happening. Because the sad part of all this, when it comes to immigration reporting, 9 times out of 10, it's all hype.